This is the Inner Chief Podcast, episode 390. I am your host, Greg Layton, founder of Chiefmaker and the Council of Chiefs. I believe there is a great chief in all of us, and that through listening to the stories, strategies, and techniques of great CEOs and gurus, each of you can find and leave your own legacy through your work and life. The Inner Chief Podcast is where you will learn how to think and make moves like a CEO, like a true chief. For over a decade, I've helped CEOs and senior executives around the world boldly lead change, inspire their people, and leave a legacy. On the Inner Chief Podcast, I bring these stories to life with deep diving CEO interviews, interspersed with minisodes covering key leadership challenges, so you will find your own path to greatness as an executive. G'day, Chiefs. Welcome to the Inner Chief Podcast and our special minisode today on the ultimate guide to conducting annual performance reviews. Chiefs, I know for many of you these are stressful. There's a lot of lead up to them. A lot of people don't like delivering them. A lot of people don't like experiencing them. So this particular episode is designed to help you prepare meticulously to ensure that in that session it just runs as smoothly as possible. We will be doing this from the perspective of the leader delivering or hosting an annual performance review. Chiefs, if you'd like to know a little bit more or get a resource to support this, if you just go to chiefmaker.com/performance reviews, there is a download there that you can get. Otherwise, for all of our resources, there's a whole bunch of downloads on there that are super helpful on strategy, on people, on building feedback. Go to chiefmaker.com/resources. They're all free and they're all there for you today. Okay, Chief, so today we're going to cover a couple of big topics. Number one is your mindset and role in annual performance reviews. 2, preparation and context. 3, delivering with what we call the CLEAR framework, CLEAR, the CLEAR framework. So Chiefs, why are annual reviews more difficult than they should be? First and foremost, your preparation or the preparation of the leader does not set you up for success. And you end up in these really difficult kind of sessions that can be awkward, where we're all having to agree a kind of position we don't want to. There's too much emotion focused on the negative. In fact, when you walk into that room, if you've got all this emotion built up inside of you about this session, I absolutely guarantee you it's going to be a little bit more difficult than it should be. The next challenge we all face is a poor rating system or discipline. If you have an internal rating system, then this is something you need to get right and be clear about before. That leads us on to the next one, of course, which is that standards of performance are unclear or not maintained, or the rating or session is a surprise to the team member. We're going to talk about this in depth today. Of course, that is connected to something which we call no rhythm throughout the year. Right, let's get into this, Chief. Start with your mindset. Now, anyone that's been involved with Chiefmaker and knows our history knows that the very first job of a leader is to create clarity and flow. We speak a lot about that. That's because my history is in elite sport and business. I always think when an athlete runs on the field, if they have clarity and flow, they can do their job better. So we speak about at a high-performance teams level. This is our high-performance teams framework. That's available on our resources page 2, right? And there's this 5 pillars to a high-performance team: mission, people, culture, tools, and execution. We need to clarify the mission, the vision, the strategy, the roles, the metrics. We need to get the right people on the bus. This is team. The right people on the bus, the right people off the bus, and the right people in the right seats. We need to build a fantastic culture that's energizing, that has great feedback, that holds people accountable, and that is what everyone wants to come to work every day. We give people the right tools to do their job. That's the hardware, the software, the policy, the systems, and the scoreboards to do their job. And last of all, a high-performance team executes. So we need governance, we need measurement and tracking of strategy, we need risk management and good communications. Now, when you think about an annual performance review, It actually stitches together all of these elements for each person of your team. It really allows you to clarify the mission for that person. It allows you to assess that person and ensure they are the right person for the business and that they are in the right seat for the next year. It allows you to set the expectations and then confirm those a year later. It allows you to confirm what kind of tools you might need to help this person do their job. And of course, because it helps you hold people accountable and get them to focus on the right things, it drives execution. So the annual performance reviews stitch together your high performance team. So you cannot cut corners on them. Chief, as you rise up through the ranks of an organization, it's a bit like sport. You go from being a player, an athlete on the field, lacing up the boots. Then you become captain and you're responsible for the on-field play. Then, if you do a great job, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've now been promoted to coach. You can't lace up the boots anymore. Now it is all about developing people, moving people around, getting them to a place where they can flourish. Ahmed Fahor, former CEO of Australia Post, said this in the Australian Financial Review. As a CEO, if you're not spending half your time working on talent and talent management, you're doing the wrong thing. You are much more like an elite sport coach, coaching, developing, growing people, that talent management piece. How could you possibly do that without some sort of formal annual review or regular review kind of process? Now, you might work for a big company, big corporate where this is all really structured. You might work for a small business. It doesn't matter. I don't care how structured it is. I don't care if you've got scales and systems or processes in place. Take the mindset that this is important and a critical part of your job. Why? Because leaders are dealers in hope. Your role as a leader is to create that hope. You help people achieve their goals and career dreams. And you do that, as I said before, by creating that clarity and flow. They can come to work then, do a fantastic job in line with company objectives, and everybody wins. Having someone's career progression in your hands is a privilege. It is a privilege. Giving clear and fair feedback is actually being kind. I often say, hey, listen, a really rubbish or shit teammate doesn't give feedback. A fantastic teammate gives feedback. So does a fantastic boss. When you're giving this kind of feedback, because we're about dealing hope and because we're about helping this person achieve their career dreams, we must be thinking about feedback over the long term. To help someone achieve a job 5, 10 years from now, what do they need to hear now to help them get there? And this sometimes, certainly for me, it gives me a freedom to give, at times, really tough feedback. Or even just small stuff. It doesn't matter. Always be thinking, how can I help this person achieve their dreams? So that's the mindset, Chief. The next part of our process today is just to make sure you prepare like a true chief. Remember, annual review is not judgment day. It's clarity day. The annual performance review is more about confirming true performance against KPIs. It's finalising any ratings fairly. It's renewing standards, expectations, goals, and development. And it is about creating a hopeful, accurate plan for the year ahead. If you're at a place where you're heading down a path of formal performance management, and this is a really important distinction to make, the difference between annual performance review and formal performance management. Right, annual performance review is ratings, it's clarity, it's expectations, standards, development, goals for the year ahead. Performance review is a formal HR process. Everybody gets annual performance review. Only people who are serially underperforming and now becoming toxic and cannot be saved, well, we're at a point where we need to save them. That's a formal HR process. It's repeated underperformance. You've already given clear prior feedback. You've defined consequences. You've counseled to improve, and now you're at removal. That's a different kind of process. Okay, so be really clear about what this is. A lot of people go into annual performance review thinking this is the moment for formal performance management. Well, then what does it mean for your best people or your middle performers? Okay, we need something that serves everyone, and then there's a secondary channel for those that are just repeatedly underperforming, and that's performance management. Now, before you go into the meeting, before you go into your annual performance review, just remember, it's never done in isolation. Performance reviews are a part of a much broader environment and personal history. Spending time before the session to understand this and understand what's going on for the person in front of you is invaluable for all parties. We have 6 context lenses. Remember, Chief, if you want to just see this in detail, this is on YouTube, but it's also in the downloads on our website. Either go to chiefmaker.com/resources or chiefmaker.com/performance reviews. So the 6 context lenses. Number 1 is the person. That is the individual, the human being with a beating heart that's in front of you. What are their aspirations? How has their performance been in the last year against KPIs and goals? And what is their career trajectory? Are they going up? Are they going sideways? Or are they going down? That's context number 1. Think about that. Number 2 is the business itself, their role within that, the team culture, and very importantly, business and team results. This is all about urgency, or how much of a lift we really need from all members of the team. The third element is standards. What are the current agreed behavioral and performance standards, and what does excellence look like? Now, have they been agreed prior? If they haven't been agreed prior, then this annual performance review is your first chance to set it up. If you go in and try and hold someone to account on expectations that haven't been set, good luck to you. I absolutely guarantee you'll end up in debate. So, clarify where the standards are at. 4 is evidence. Any evidence of performance or data that's both really good, average, not so good, be clear on the evidence. So when you're in that meeting, you can give very specific feedback about their performance to help them achieve their career goals. 5 is the process. Any ratings, policy, bonus, salary or remuneration benefits, you need to be clear on all that. Get that context clear about what the rules are, the company policy, so you can deliver this clearly. And last is the future, what the next 6 to 12 months requires. So if you just spend, honestly, this would take you 5 minutes. Get clear on the person, get clear on the business, get clear on the standards, get the evidence that you need, be clear on the process and know what the future holds. You're set up. You know what's going to happen now. And remember, if you went in without being clear on that, there's always going to be a part of you that feels somewhat underprepared. Now, it's important, Chief, before you go into the meeting, to be clear on rating and review discipline. Whatever process you have, it could be formal or informal, I don't care. It's important you apply a standard approach to goal setting, developing, rating, and rewarding your people. Okay, if you're not fair and consistent, then what you end up doing potentially is either rewarding low performance or inflating reviews and ratings to avoid discomfort, compressing everyone into similar ratings, rating without clear evidence, or annoying your high performers and rewarding your low performers. That's the worst case scenario, okay? Because then the high performers leave and all that you can attract after that is more low performers. So Chiefs, you can see like half this minisode has been all about stuff that happens prior to the session. 90% of an annual performance review happens outside of the annual performance review. Okay, let's jump into now what we call the CLEAR framework, CLEAR, the CLEAR framework. This is now when we go into the session, and it is a high-level framework to follow that you can align with any internal process to make your annual performance reviews sharp, less stressful, and keep them on track. Remember, if you haven't done the work prior, this gets even harder. Okay, so let's look at this framework. CLEAR framework. CLEAR stands for clarify the context, land the truth, elicit their view, agree to the path forward, and rhythm for the year ahead. Okay, let's go back to clarify the context. This is the first opening part of your session, the formal part of the session. So this is where you clarify what this is all about, the purpose of the conversation. You might review criteria, the meeting process, what will happen by the end. You might share broader business context from the year, results, margins, plans, organizational changes, all that kind of stuff. And the script might be like, hey, this conversation has two jobs. First, to get clear on the year just gone. Second, to set you up strongly for the year ahead. Here's some detail you should know first. Okay? The next is land the truth and elicit their view. This is when we get into a bit of a career conversation. I actually know that a number of organizations split their annual performance reviews. There's an initial discussion about performance to get the feedback of the individual. That's done with respect and dignity, with genuine curiosity. And then they come back later and actually confirm the annual review process. So let's talk about land the truth and elicit their view. As a collaboration, remember, Chief, this isn't a HR process. This is an annual performance review. Their career is in your hands. It's got to be a conversation. Coach to athlete. You're helping them be better. So, review the prior year and discuss their career aspirations and their progression against that. Agree the performance against KPIs and goals. Look at the performance against values and behavioral standards, and performance against any rating system criteria. Now, hopefully you've done some work prior. That's all written down. You've got your evidence, as we spoke about in the context. You deliver that. But because this is a conversation, you might say things like, how would you assess your results against the criteria? Right? So that you get some clarity about where they are and where you are. Okay? At this point also, you might talk about the remuneration review according to policy, where you would say the company policy this year on remuneration, and this might be salary increases or it could be bonuses. Share that with them about what's going to happen and what their updated salary is going to be. And you might say, hey, listen, right, agreeing the path forward. Hey, in the next year, we've reviewed last year. Now we agree the path forward. Right, let's get clear on, first of all, what are the company targets and their subset of KPIs and goals. Reconfirm their career aspirations. Agree the step change performance improvement for them over the next year, and any development actions and support. Now, this is very much, this little part here is about the expectations and the growth and the development over the next year ahead. If you get this part wrong, next year's meeting will hurt. So come back and get this part right. Okay, a great question to ask is, what is a step change performance improvement for you in the next 12 months? Finally, we look at the rhythm for the year ahead. Okay, you lock in the goals, the KPIs development plan, you agree a one-to-one cadence of review points. For full career and performance, it's probably around about every month. Outline any support from you. Okay, so that's the rhythm for the year ahead. Okay, and that's in the clear framework. As I said, check it out at chiefmaker.com/performance reviews. Now look, Chiefs, if it does start getting a little bit harder, most of the times, you know in advance if there's going to be disagreement, right? And this is because the history of feedback, their performance. So treat the annual performance review as a reset, particularly if you know it's going to be hard and there's disagreements around expectations. Stay calm. Seek to understand the root cause of disagreement. Is it changing standards? Is it an actual event? Are they struggling? Expand their understanding of the situation around business performance and what's required. Confirm the pathway forward, right? And be prepared, if it is going down a path that's difficult, to start separate formal performance management. If it just happens to coincide that this is the moment of truth, then you might be saying at the end, hey, we're going to be starting a formal performance management process. If that is the case, I would expect you to have HR in the room at that point in this day and age, right? Chiefs, The best annual performance reviews are built all year long, right? Trust is built all year. Standards are clarified all year. Feedback is given all year. Evidence is gathered all year. And coaching rhythm is maintained all year. If you do all that, your annual performance reviews will actually be enjoyable, they'll be a collaboration, and they will result in people turning up for work and giving that discretionary effort and loving the year ahead. Chiefs, look, if you don't know about our mini MBA, we have this amazing program. It's the #1 mini MBA leadership program in Asia Pacific. We have amazing leaders from all over, from the Middle East and Europe, all the way to Australia and New Zealand. And we cover over 12 weeks the most important, incredibly practical tools and frameworks to help you make your leadership more human. And we get clear on all those elements of the high performance teams framework: mission, people, culture, tools, and execution. If that is of interest, go to chiefmaker.com/mini MBA. All right, Chief, that sums it up for this week. As always, remember to stay epic. All the links and resources can be found at chiefmaker.com/390, or just check it out on YouTube. Go to chiefmaker.com/YouTube. Now, Chief, do you find yourself at work in one of those incredibly stressful moments where you've got someone on your team that either isn't performing or is behaving poorly, and you know deep down that it needs a difficult conversation? One of those ones that can keep you up at night. You know, if you get wrong, there's going to be HR issues, but you know, if you get right, it could actually be a little bit career defining, and it will make life so much better for so many people, but you just keep putting it off and off and off. Well, Chief, we've created the ultimate resource for you. It is called Difficult Conversations, but what's in it is what's most powerful: the mindsets, the frameworks, and even some of the scripts, the words to use to make those conversations much more easy. Just go to chiefmaker.com/difficult and you could download the full resource right there. And if you would like to stay in touch and hear all about some of the best resources that you can find anywhere in the world to improve your performance at work, go to chiefmaker.com/subscribe. Now, Chief, if you're yet to rate the episode and subscribe, I hope you'll do so soon. It helps others see the magnificent value that the chiefs and gurus bring to their life and career. So make sure you hit subscribe on your podcast app now, give it a 5-star rating if you think it's worthy, and leave a short review about your favorite episode. Righto, Chiefs, as always, remember to stay epic.